Now I go there, I arrive, I remember my aunt and uncle, her husband, who you will hear a lot about soon, picked me up from the airport, and the first thing they did is took me to Hollywood. And I saw the first transvestite. I don't know if you know what that is. Okay, it's like a female, male, like or men that are women and women that are men. They're like actually men who become women, dress like women, skirt, and you know they have hair, long hair. And so someone will speak to him thinking it's a her, and then he will tell him that he's a man. Said, look, I was like, wow, you know, this is real. These are people walking down the street. And they took me to McDonald's, I think, and they got me a couple of burgers, which I didn't like. And then we went to their place. So we got a swimming pool outside and everything. I'm like, oh, this is unbelievable. I pick up the phone, start calling my friends in Lebanon. Guys, you won't believe this is crazy, man, this and that. I'm telling him everything. I run a bill of $1,000. $1,000 is 3,750 riyals, more than my aunt and uncle make combined. I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. Of course, when the phone bill came, they went berserk. Said, what is this? I said, what? They said, how could you do this? You're this. And this was the beginning of the conflict. And I was thinking in my mind, what are these money worshippers, man? This is my aunt? All this getting mad and upset because of a bill? Because I was spoiled. I didn't realize the value of money. And that's a lesson you need to learn. Especially if you're kids. You father, man, be working harder than you can imagine to make the money, and you think it's a picnic every time you see a toy, Baba, I want this. No, Habibi. The guy works hard, he has to listen to his boss, trashing him and telling him, come this and do this and everything to make the money. So you can just ask for it in a simple manner? No. Appreciate what your parents are doing. It's not easy to make money, and then they spend it with love on you. But don't take advantage. Don't take advantage of their kindness. Know that they work hard. They must work hard to make money unless they're doing something wrong. Which hopefully nobody's like that. So anyways, the problem began. I go to school, okay? And you can imagine what the campus would be like over there. And I start mixing with the people and everything, and you know. And then here comes the tuition. The tuition was outrageous. The money, because a foreign student, was so much my dad could never even imagine to afford. So what was the advice I was given by everybody? Get married. Said, get the green card, man, and then, you know, when you become a citizen, you can go back to school, it's going to be nice and cheap, you know, you can get a student loan, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem, we can do that. And so I go fetching for a wife. I found one. And she was a Buddhist. Meantime, I'm going to school, I'm working on campus, they allow you to work part-time to make some money, and I'm working at a gas station on the weekend. And you don't want to work in a gas station. But you know, you work in a gas station where any day, anytime someone can come up, put a gun in your head, and rob you, shoot you, and leave. You've probably seen some of these videos on YouTube. That's why they have fiberglass and thick glass for the, you know, the teller or whatever you want to call him, the clerk, because anytime they could lose their life. You're living in a land where guns speak and gangsters exist and people die all of a sudden because someone is not in a good mood. Alhamdulillah, we have some security here. I'm working in the gas station and I'm waiting, I'm going to school. Now in the school I met the wrong people. It wasn't long before we met the wrong people. So this is the lady that I'm supposed to be married to. Her brother Tony was a rapper. And he was part of a group called Scums of the Earth, who were really the scums of the earth. And so I said, this is perfect. This is perfect. That's all I've been looking for. So I'm going to become friends with him. He's Buddhist. The whole clan of rappers is Buddhist. Of course, they're from different backgrounds. White people, black people, Mexican people, from everything, from every background. So I'm with these guys, right? And now my life is, the rap thing is starting to develop. Now I have actually a platform. And I have people who have a studio at home. We have a complete studio with the turntables and the mixers and microphone in the closet for the sound quality and the whole 9 yards. People making beats all day. That was our life. I started hanging out with the guys. They have Buddhist practices. Now, in the beginning when I first met them, the lady, her mother and her brother, I was actually trying to give him da'wah. To believe in Allah. Didn't have anything, but I was trying to debate with them in the beginning, like, what are you people, this weird belief. But because I didn't have any foundation, I lost the battle and they won me over. They bribed me. Okay? And be careful of being bribed. Someone will offer you some dunya to give up your deen. I was like that. I started practicing their practices just to be harmonious with them. So we would practice what is known as chanting, where we would sit behind what they call a butsenan, and it's like a bookshelf with some signatures of their mashayikh, and we would sit like this and say, Nam Yoho Renge Kyo, Nam Yoho Renge Kyo. If they're hearing this, they're gonna laugh. Say, what in the world is Nam Yoho Renge Kyo? You ask me, I tell you, I don't know. I must have said it over 10 million times in my life, but I never knew what it meant. All I knew was, this is supposed to change your karma, because they believed in reincarnation. It will change your karma, so you do that and you're going to get yourself, when you die, come back in a better condition than now. So if you're evil, you're putting out evil in the world, they expect that you should receive evil according to the karma rule, cause and effect, cause and effect. If you chant, you're able to change your karma so that you don't get evil, you get good instead. So you don't, if you die, you don't come back as a cockroach or as a rat, you come back as a king or a president. Foolish, but true. And I would go with them to the temple. Now, of course, the Buddhists in America are not like the Buddhists in other countries, like Sri Lanka and what have you. Because there are denominations of Buddhism. These were people who everything was halal for them. Even the idea of asceticism and, depriving oneself of pleasure, that didn't exist. They were having barbecues all day, getting high all night, and just, people would go there to meet each other. Anyways, these are the people I'm hanging out with. Now, the problem started to happen at home with my aunt and her husband. Because I was such a troublemaker, I started bringing trouble into the house. And they could not tolerate it anymore. And so I said, you know what, I don't need you guys anyways, I'm going to move out on my own. I got a job as a waiter at a restaurant, Denny's restaurant. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And you make money. I made money, at least. Because, being a waiter requires that you treat your customers a particular way, and I liked it. I liked to provide service. I was a service provider. So I used to make a lot of money every night, and so I rented my own apartment, and I bought my own car, a Ford Mustang, 4-cylinder, not the big one with the big engine, it was the fake one. It looked like it was a real sports car, but it had one of the smallest engines in the world, so don't be fooled by the hype. Anyways, now when I bought this, my other aunt, Uthman's mother, took me to a man. His name is Hisham. Hisham was an insurance salesman, had an insurance agency. And so over there, you have to have insurance to register the car in your name, okay? I bought the insurance. Now you pay the down payment then you get the policy, and then you pay the rest in installments. I gave him the down payment, then I escaped. I didn't like the guy from the moment I met him, so I said, you know what, this guy doesn't even deserve my money. I'm just going to give him the down payment, get the policy, and run. And I did. I wouldn't pay him. They would send me letters of notification, you're due, your payment is due. I would look at it, rip it and throw it in the trash. Yalla. Why? I know that he will not remove the insurance because of my aunt. He could, if he wants, he could deactivate the policy because I didn't pay. But for my aunt, I knew that he would let it run and I would benefit from it, so I didn't make any payments. But anyways, we started with each other on the wrong foot. From the beginning, me and this guy did not really get along very well. I thought he was this arrogant prick, So what is this guy? Thinks he's a special guy, has his office and all this, the way he talked to me. And I thought that I was the coolest person in the world. I had such intellect. What are these dumb people around me? And this is one of the tricks of the shaitan. When he makes you feel that you know what's going on and everybody else doesn't, and I'm not talking about matters of religion, but in matters of the dunya, very often everybody knows what's up and you don't. Like what happened to me. I thought I knew, now I know that I didn't know anything. I was a jahil, real jahil in the dunya. Because I was treating the people bad, thinking I'm smart. but it's going to come back to you. So it will come back to you. Things are starting to go in all kinds of directions. Have the car, living the whole rap lifestyle. I moved to New York because that lady who became my wife, when she was accepted in the university in New York, I had to go along. And I moved to New York. Staten Island, I'm there in New York. I'm still trying to do the whole rap thing and trying to continue my crazy life. And this is when September 11 happened, which I told you I saw with my own eyes, but there was no Islam there in my life. Of course, you can go to the lecture that happened in Malaysia, the messenger and the message. I discussed the issue of what the whole event of September 11 and where I was and what happened in the news, which were in the streets and whatever. Eventually, here now there's going to be the change, okay? I'm living off this lady. I don't have a job. I'm a loser. I'm a potato, as they say. Just, all day playing game called Worms. There's this Worms game, Worms Armageddon, Worms 1, Worms 2. That was my whole life. Video games, entertainment, and, rap and everything. Nothing else of any important significance. But the situation got bad even with the lady. We started differing on major issues. You don't pay rent, you don't do anything, you need to get out of here. And so I said, okay. I was kicked out. Kicked out, went back to Los Angeles. To live with who? Her brother Tony and the 7 scums of the earth who all lived in one big apartment. They had 7 or 8 rooms. Each one had rented his own room. They paid the rent, joint rent. I moved back. I'm in the worst. You see, do I look skinny now? I was 4 times skinnier than now. Can you imagine? I was, as they say, I was clothes walking. Any minute, I will disappear. And I had a big old afro, like a broom. If ever you needed to, broom clean the thing, my hair was perfect. People used to think I'm wearing a wig. They would grab my hair and pull it and say, hey, it's my hair, man. I'm not wearing a wig. They said, it doesn't look like you would have curly hair. Whatever. Now I'm bald all the time, you don't know that. And I'm in a very bad condition. I have no fulus. No fulus whatsoever. I'm on wood. I'm on metal. I'm on the floor. I come back and the guy said, look, there's a room available for you, man, but you have to pay the rent. I said, well, let me just stay there for now and then I'll figure out the rent. And now my relationship with my parents is whacked out. Okay, my mom and dad, I don't call them, I don't waste money because there's a lot of money to speak to Lebanon from the States. International phone calls. I don't bother calling them. And they already hate me, I have problems with my very bad condition, no money, nothing. The only person that still kind of speaks to me is my aunt, Uthman's mother. I call her up, say, listen, I came back from New York, no money, nobody lends me any money. They know if they lend me money, they're not going to see it again. Okay, so my family had learned a lesson. This and that said, I'm applying at all kinds of jobs. I had already worked so many different things. I was a mechanic, cleaning, changing oil, changing brakes on cars, cleaning the floor. In restaurants, obviously you have to clean up after people. I did all kinds of jobs. Telemarketing, whatever. So I go to Albertsons, all these places, apply to be a bagger. Not a beggar. The bagger? The one who stands like right now at Danube and just puts the stuff in the bag, just so you can take it and go give him a tip. They wouldn't hire me. I call my aunt and say, listen, I'm in deep trouble and there's no place to go. I had reached a point in my life, I hate life, I hate what's happening. I try to do the whole Hollywood thing, it didn't work out very well, and it's not really cool. She said, why don't you call Hisham? I said, Hisham? The guy who I bought insurance from. I said, no, not that guy. She said, you don't have anybody else. So I said, okay, I'll call Hisham. Call Hisham, marhaba Hisham, trying to give him some Lebanese. Remember me? Well, the situation is, I need to talk to you and everything, need a job. Said, come to the office. It's on Ventura Boulevard. I go over there. I walk in on him with my wild looking appearance. He looks at me like this, like, what happened to this guy? I said, well, look, man, I need a job and everything, and I haven't been able to find anything. And he said, okay, what can you do? I said, anything. He said, can you sell insurance on the phone? I said, oh yeah, man, telemarketing. I sold ink cartridges, I sold long distance services, whatever you want. I used it. I've done it. Yeah, I'll sell insurance. You call small businesses, offer them insurance, better deal than the one they have, no problem. He said, okay. $5 an hour. I said, $5 an hour. Alhamdulillah. I didn't say alhamdulillah back then. Perfect. The guy hired me. I start working with him. Now, where I was living was far from the office. But he would make it a point to drop me off. And his house was right next to his office. Okay? He doesn't have to. 2 minutes he's home. He would drive me all the way to where I was living every day at the end of the shift. And then he told one of the secretaries to pick me up one day would come to work. So he arranged my pick up and drop off. I'm like, wow, this is nice. He gave me some money up front. He said, we'll deduct it from your salary as you go along, but you need to keep some money with you so you can pay the rent and take care of yourself. I said, hey, fantastic, man. I'm working. Things are starting to get better. I have some money in my pocket. I feel some form of security. So then, what happened was, when he would pray, I started feeling ashamed of myself, in one sense. But the truth is, I was like, this guy is a nice guy. And if I pray with him, he will love me more. And he will help me more. So let me pray. No wudu, nothing. In fact, I don't know when to say Subhana Rabbi al-Azim or Subhana Rabbi al-Ala. Wallahi, I remember the first time I said, in ruku', what do I say? Is it Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, Subhana Rabbi al-Ala? I couldn't remember and I'm too ashamed to ask. Can I ask someone? He prays, I stand with him and I move along with him. Nifaqan, hypocrisy. Because I'm trying to be on good terms with the boss. The boss is being nice. When he saw me pray with him, he said, well, come to Jumu'ah. Because before he would go to Jumu'ah, leave me behind at work. Friday is not a holiday there. So when he saw me praying with him, he started bringing me to Jumu'ah. So I went to the masjid, the one I've been running away from for years. And of course, during Jumu'ah, the khatib is there on the minbar screaming his lungs out and telling you this and fear Allah and Yawm al-Qiyamah and Jannah and Jahannam. I was like, whoa. Whoa, man, slow down. What is this? And so it started to hit me. I'm going to hell. I knew I was going to hell all along, but I was running away from it. I don't want to think about it. But now it's being put in your face. I started saying to myself, if I die now, I know I'm going to hell. No doubt about it in my mind. I have nothing. So he said, this is not good. Jumu'ah after Jumu'ah, I don't have enough iman to pray for Allah. In that stage, in that phase, Ramadan came. And when Ramadan came, the shayateen tusaffad, the shayateen are chained, and the doors of Jannah are open. I said to myself, you know what? If I'm going to do this, if I'm going to pray in front of him, I might as well pray for real. And if I'm going to fast and pretend that I'm not eating, I might as well not eat for real. What do I have to lose? I'm doing it for show, but I'm not being able to benefit. I can't benefit. I said, you know what? I put the niyyah, I'm going to actually pray for Allah and fast for Allah this Ramadan. As soon as Ramadan began, I fell into this one sin that ruined it for me. But it was means for me to have a stronger determination to make up for it. I said, no, I'm going to make up for it. And so here you go. I'm fasting for the first time, legitimately for Allah, and I'm praying for Allah. When Maghrib time would come, we would drive from where we were on Ventura Boulevard to a place called Anaheim. Those who are listening from there, they know what I'm talking about. There are Masjid al-Rahman and I don't know how many major masajid, big masajid in Anaheim. It's known for being a Muslim populated area in California. So we drive out there. He has a Jaguar. He's a fancy guy, got money and everything. We're driving over there and we're talking on the way and whatever. We go to the actual masjid. We have iftar together. I would usually break my fast on a cigarette. Okay? Everybody will be eating, tamar and sambusa. I'm puffing on a cigarette because I'm dying all day. I didn't smoke. And if you smoke, man, you know that stuff is bad. That stuff is bad. And so, young shabab, never ever try that thing, man. Don't let the shaitan tell you, just try it so you can hate it more. No, you will not. It's a trick from the shaitan. Leave cigarettes alone and leave smokers. Don't be a second-hand smoker by hanging out smokers either. These people, they're bad. Ta'ban. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. See someone smoking, stop them. So, we pray Taraweeh. And you can imagine Taraweeh. I mean, at the end, if you have some heart, if you have something, you're going to be ashamed of yourself. And I'm listening to this Quran and things are starting to register, and it's like I'm really reaching the point of internalizing the fact that I need to change my life, because what I thought was success, what I thought was actually fun and happiness, wallahi brought nothing but misery. And you will not know the ayah in the book of Allah.
وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنكًا وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى.
وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنكًا unless someone tells you, don't try it. Wallahi ضَنكًا. Yani you say how? On the outside, you got the clothes, you got the thing, everything looks cool. How in the world are you suffering? Don't ask how. Allahu a'lam. Innama, the promise of Allah. When you go home and you're sitting in the bathtub, I wanted to kill myself. Outwardly, people think everything is fun. Inwardly, you're dying. That's why many of the rappers left the music industry alone and came back to Allah. Because they know what I'm talking about. I know what they're talking about. You don't need to know that, because you may go there and never come back. So, I'm starting to realize what's going on. Now imagine, we go back from Anaheim to our locality, and he drops me off with the scums of the earth, and guess what? They are the scums of the earth. We go to the house, pornography, and ladies around, and drugs and everything, and I'm like, oh man, I was just in the house of Allah, listening to the Quran and the reminder, and now these are the shayateen of ins right in front of me. I actually did not like being with them anymore. I was disturbed from this whole environment. The next day I said, Hisham, I can't do this anymore. I can't stay with these guys, man. It's very bad environment. I moved.